a brand new trend in the NBA that previously I'm not really that much aware of, and it's when a team comes out and officially announces to all of society and the entire world that, hey, you see this player we have over here? We're officially done with him, meaning we're either going to try to trade him, and if we don't trade him, then we're going to try to cut him. Something's going to happen with this player. We don't want him anymore. And we saw this happen in the very beginning with Blake Griffin, where the Detroit Pistons came out and said, hey, Blake Griffin, this guy, he's no longer in our plans anymore. We're going to try to trade him, and if we can't trade him, we're going to try to cut him. And everybody knew, anyone with the slightest shred of NBA knowledge knew that there's no way the Detroit Pistons could trade Blake Griffin. It just doesn't make any sense. The guy had a horrible contract, and essentially, we're about to get the very same exact scenario with the San Antonio Spurs and Lamarcus Aldridge. Actually, I'm kind of excited because this picture of Adam Levine, which was tweeted out about 6 years ago, which back then, bear in mind, the Lakers were in a really bad situation. We were literally contenders for lottery ping pong balls. We needed a brand new star to build around. Well, this picture officially became relevant again because the San Antonio Spurs just came out and pretty much followed suit with what the Detroit Pistons did with Blake Griffin and what the Cleveland Cavaliers, unfortunately, are doing with Andre Drummond, which means the buyout market for big men is about to be insane, and the trade market for big men should be even more insane. If a team wants to get a big man for cheap, a player like Lamarcus Aldridge, who fits into the modern NBA offense really, really well, although he's no longer the remarkable player that he once was. He's 35 years old at this point, and he's an overall negative in terms of box plus minus. He has a 0.1 value over replacement player. Well, regardless, I feel like he'd make a nice little role player and rotational piece for any team that is looking for additional help in the form of a big man. I'm kind of essentially viewing him in the same or a similar lens as I view Marc Gasol, a fairly lethargic big man that has a remarkable IQ for the game of basketball and can really help a team, but is no longer the star that he once was. And I think that goes without saying, but I felt like it was important to say. Now, before we get to the content, take a moment to slap a like on the like button for the YouTube algorithm. Consider following me on Instagram and subscribing to our podcast, Laced Up, in the description down below. And also, this video is sponsored, so now that we got all that out of the way, cue the intro. Looking for a way to make some easy side cash? Introducing Swagbucks, a website that literally pays you to watch videos, play games, take some easy research surveys, or shop online to earn rewards. I've tried Swagbucks, and honestly, it didn't take me that long to grind my way to a Amazon gift card, which really went a long way in trying to pay off this PlayStation 5 Pulse headset that I've been trying to get. And it's a very easy way to make money. On top of that, you literally get $5 of free money whenever you click my link in the description down below and then take your first survey. So click the link in the description down below to sign up and get $5 after your first survey. And thank you, Swagbucks, for the sponsor. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? Lamarcus Aldridge has been the face of the Portland Trailblazers for the first half of his career before eventually choosing the San Antonio Spurs in free agency during the 2015 to 2016 NBA season. And the reason why he did this was, one, he had the opportunity to play with Tim Duncan, Greg Popovich, Kawhi Leonard, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili at the end of their primes, and it seemed like a very nice little ceremonious passing of the torch from one star center or one very traditional big man in Tim Duncan all the way to Lamarcus Aldridge. And Lamarcus Aldridge was essentially seen as the next transitional big man for the San Antonio Spurs, the next great big man for the San Antonio Spurs that fit into the Greg Popovich motion offense perfectly. And unfortunately, there were some good seasons. His first 2 seasons were fairly wonky to say the best, but he peaked in the 2017 to 2018 season. Unfortunately, following Kawhi Leonard's departure and obviously the retirement of Tony Parker, Tim Duncan, and Manu Ginobili, things started to trend downwards. DeMar DeRozan unfortunately wasn't the ideal running mate for Lamarcus Aldridge either, and now at the age of 35, he's averaging about 13.7 points per game. And as a result of this, we got some breaking news from the man, the myth, the legend, Shams Charania, who says the Spurs and Lamarcus Aldridge have mutually agreed to part ways and are working on a resolution. This comes from the mouth of Coach Greg Popovich. So what does this mean? It means that we're probably going to see another great big man hit the market. So my immediate reaction to this was, okay, does this mean Lamarcus Aldridge is released? Well, Adrian Wojnarowski goes out and clears things up for us a little bit. The San Antonio Spurs are working on trade scenarios with Lamarcus Aldridge and have been engaged on several fronts. So that means that first they're going to try to find a way to trade him. If a trade doesn't work out, then they're going to probably release him. But for the most part, they're probably going to do that thing where, you know, how Andre Drummond is technically a member of the Cavs, but he doesn't play for them. Well, they're probably going to do the same exact thing with Lamarcus Aldridge. Now, Woj continues on by saying that there is a level of confidence that a trade partner will be found for Aldridge, perhaps even the next week. And there's been no movement towards a contract buyout, sources tell ESPN. And while that might be the case, historically, I've never seen a trade piece that is a sought out after trade piece be traded after the team essentially comes out and says, hey, we're done with this player. We don't want him anymore. Typically, trades are done a little bit more behind the scenes. Yeah, players are dangled in rumors, but you don't hear Woj coming out and announcing to the world that a team is essentially done with a player. Usually, if there was any interest in that player, he would have been traded already. So I'm a little bit skeptical about whether or not Aldridge will be traded. I feel like it's a little bit more likely that Lamarcus Aldridge will be bought out. And this is a complete prediction. It's a contradiction to what Adrian Wojnarowski says. So you can let me know if you agree or disagree with me in the comment section down below. But on top of that, you have to also think about what does this mean for DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan has been in trade rumors throughout his tenure with the San Antonio Spurs as well. And it seems like the Spurs are just geared towards a full-scale rebuild. So if they're giving up on Lamarcus Aldridge and if they're trying to trade or buy out Lamarcus Aldridge, does that also mean that they're going to do whatever it takes to trade DeMar DeRozan as well? Aldridge has a really good contract. He has a $24 million cap hit and is set to be a free agent at the conclusion of this season, which means any team that is trying to get out of salary cap hell could trade for Lamarcus Aldridge, then buy him out. He could hit the buyout market and he could also sign with a contender, which is the only way I could really see a trade being done in this scenario, because now that the Spurs are heading towards a rebuild, they are in the business of trading away a player that is an expiring contract for a horrible contract, say to the OKC Thunder for Al Horford, for example, even though the Thunder probably wouldn't do it. It's just an example. Take back some picks for doing so, and then being able to deal and eat the salary of that one player for the next 2 or 3 years. Now, I'm not saying OKC is going to do it. I just used Al Horford as an example. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think is going to happen with this Lamarcus Aldridge scenario? Aside from that, make sure you check out our brand new podcast in the description down below. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter as well. I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.